Bonjour mes amis et bienvenue aux prochaines leçons. Qu'est-ce que tu vas faire et qu'est-ce que tu viens de faire? Le futur proche et le passé récent. So what we're looking at today is what are you going to do? Qu'est-ce que tu vas faire? And what did you just do? Qu'est-ce que tu viens de faire? So we're looking at the immediate future and the most recent past. Those are the two questions we're going to be able to answer by the end of this lesson today. On y va. Les verbes nécessaires. In order to get this straight, you have to know these two verbs, aller, to go, and venir, to come. They're opposites in more ways than one. Aller, je vais, tu vas, il va, elle va, nous allons, vous allez, ils vont, elles vont. Venir, to come, je viens, tu viens, ils viennent, elles viennent, nous venons, vous venez, ils viennent, elles viennent. You must know these two verbs to be able to answer the questions that we're talking about today. Pull out that verb fold if you don't have them memorized just yet, or write these down real fast and make sure you have them. You will need these for today's lesson. On y va. Qu'est-ce que tu vas faire en vacances? Look at that question. Qu'est-ce que tu vas faire en vacances? What you notice immediately is that you see va for aller and faire. So the question is asking, what are you going to do on vacation? So the formula is simple. When we use a form of aller next to a future activity, that just means going to. So, qu'est-ce que tu vas faire en vacances? Je vais danser au concert. I am going to dance at the concert. So you might also say, I will dance at the concert. Sure, that's not an unfair translation. Grammatically, it's not exactly the same thing. Because going to dance at the concert means it's happening quite soon. Je vais danser au concert. Or, tu vas nager à la mer. So it can be any form of aller. You are going to swim at the sea. Or swim in the sea. Tu vas nager à la mer. Now you notice one important thing. Look at danser and nager. Since these are future activities, I'm not doing them right now. I don't conjugate them. So the only verb that get conjugated in this thing talking about a future activity is the aller. Je vais danser au concert. Tu vas nager à la mer. And we're going to keep going with that same pattern. Il va regarder un film au ciné. He is going to watch a movie at the movie theater. Il va regarder. So again, regarder is not conjugated because it's happening later. Il va regarder un film au ciné. Elle va faire du shopping. It could be any expression. Elle va faire du shopping. So she is going shopping. She is going, or rather, she is going to do the shopping. Nous allons faire du vélo. We are going to ride bikes. Nous allons faire du vélo. Again, regardless of the verb, danser, nager, regarder, which are regular ER verbs, or faire du shopping, faire du vélo, we don't conjugate these future activities after aller. Vous allez jouer au volley au parc. You are going to play volleyball in the park. Again, we just leave it alone. Ils vont faire du jogging à la mer. Elles vont faire de l'escalade à la montagne. They are going to go jogging at the sea, and they are going to mountain climb in the mountains. So again, you'll notice in the red we got our forms of aller. Je vais, tu vas, il va, elle va, nous allons, vous allez, ils vont, elles vont, followed by some kind of future activity. And if you need to add details like au concert, au ciné, à la mer, etc., you can. But the important thing is, do not conjugate that future activity. On y va. C'est à toi. So now it's your turn. Take a look at these questions. Qu'est-ce que tu vas faire après l'école? Qu'est-ce que tu vas faire ce week-end? Qu'est-ce qu'elle va faire à la plage? Qu'est-ce que vous allez faire au parc? Qu'est-ce que les garçons vont faire à la campagne? So now it's your turn. You'll notice that each one of these is asking what are they going to do at certain places or at certain times. So to try it for yourself, I want you to write an answer for each one of these questions. You'll notice the subjects change, so be careful on which one you use. Just to help you get started, the first one, qu'est-ce que tu vas faire après l'école? Je vais faire les devoirs. Faire les devoirs is a phrase meaning do homework. Je vais faire les devoirs. So pause the video now, and I want you to try to answer the remaining 4 questions on your own. Ok, mesdames, messieurs. So, qu'est-ce que tu vas faire ce week-end? So make sure yours looks similar to mine. Je vais passer du temps avec mes amis. Did you use je vais correctly? Did you make sure you did not conjugate your activity? Passer du temps means spend time with, chill with, if you want to use that colloquialism. So, je vais passer du temps avec mes amis. That could also mean I'm going to hang out with my friends. Passer du temps translates spend some time, but if you want to say hang out or chill, you can use that. Je vais passer du temps avec mes amis. So, qu'est-ce qu'elle va faire à la plage? Elle va bronzer à la plage. Did you use elle correctly? Notice how it uses elle in the question. Elle va bronzer à la plage. Bronzer to tan. Notice the word bronze in that word. Bronzer. Elle va bronzer à la plage. Did you remember to use your aller and your activity correct? Next one. Qu'est-ce que vous allez faire au parc? Nous allons faire un match de tennis. Notice I'm using that faire again. But the question was vous, so I'm asking you all, so your answer needs to be we. If you put vous allez something, then you weren't thinking about who's speaking and who's asking. So you've got to think about that difference in questions and answers. Make sure you're thinking about that. So, qu'est-ce que vous allez faire? Or qu'est-ce que tu vas faire? I'm asking you directly. So you need to give me I or we in response. Nous allons faire un match de tennis would be a good response. So we are going to have a tennis match. Faire un match de, and then you can put a sport name if you want to say have a game of, etc. Qu'est-ce que les garçons vont faire à la campagne? What are the boys going to do in the country? Ils vont faire du camping. Notice I changed it to ils just so I don't have to say les garçons. Ils vont faire du camping. They are going camping. Or going to camp. Ils vont faire du camping. Another phrase with faire, of course. So, if your sentences don't look similar to mine, take another look at it, try to figure out why they don't look that way, and change them. Make sure they look good. Feel free to write down these questions and answers that I've given you so you have more examples to look at later on. On y va. Qu'est-ce que tu viens de faire? What did you just do? So now we're switching games and we're looking at a new question, a new idea. Qu'est-ce que tu viens de faire? What did you just do? So if we use aller to talk about something we're going to do, we use venir to talk about something we just did. However, there's one additional little piece we got to put onto this. It's going to be very similar with this one little addition. When we talk about things that we just did, we have to use venir, and we also have to use the word de. Just like when we say pas de or match de tennis, you're just going to use that de right before you talk about that past activity. And whatever the past activity is, when we read that sentence, it means I just did it. For example, je viens de faire du vélo. I just rode my bike rather. So je viens de faire du vélo. I just rode my bike, or I just went biking. So we're talking about something that just happened. Je viens de faire du vélo. Notice I've got venir conjugated correctly, and then I use de before I mention my activity. Je viens de faire du vélo. Tu viens de manger un sandwich. You just ate a sandwich. So again, vient de for the subject with the de, and then my activity that I just did. Tu viens de manger un sandwich. You just ate a sandwich. Il vient de téléphoner à des amis. He just called his friends. Or some friends, or rather, I should say. Il vient de téléphoner à des amis. He just called some friends. Elle vient d'écouter de la musique. She just listened to some music. You'll notice there's a slight difference in this one. Elle vient d'écouter. Why do I have a D apostrophe instead of DE? For those of you who are correct, you said DE becomes D apostrophe in front of a vowel. So, elle vient d'écouter de la musique. So you should have a D apostrophe since écouter starts with a vowel. This will happen anytime we have an activity that starts with a vowel sound. Nous venons de jouer du piano. We just played piano. Again, using the correct form of venir with a de and the activity we just did. Nous venons de jouer du piano. Vous venez de faire du skate au parc. You just did skating in the park. Il vient de faire du ski. They just went skiing. Now remember, faire du ski is, we're talking about snow skiing, not water skiing. If you're going to talk about water skiing, it's faire du ski nautique or nautical. Faire du ski nautique is water skiing. Faire du ski is mountain skiing. Just for clarification, make sure we all know the difference. Elle vient de faire un pique-nique. They just had a picnic. So again, in every single one of these, you see the correct form of venir, followed by the de or d apostrophe, like in écouter, when we have a d apostrophe because it starts with a vowel. Okay. Ok, maintenant c'est à toi. Now it's your turn. Il y a 4 questions, s'il vous plaît. Répondez à chaque question. Answer each of these questions. Qu'est-ce que tu viens de faire? Qu'est-ce que ton ami vient de faire? Qu'est-ce que vous venez de faire au parc? Qu'est-ce que les filles viennent de faire à la maison? So pause the video. Okay, let's see if we did this right. So, qu'est-ce que tu viens de faire? One example could be, je viens d'étudier. I just studied. Did you use the correct form of venir? And did you remember to put your de, or in my case, d apostrophe, since my activity, étudier, starts with a vowel sound. I just studied. Qu'est-ce que ton ami vient de faire? Mon ami vient de faire de la musculation. Faire de la musculation means to work out, like pumping iron. Faire de la musculation. However, notice it's faire de la because musculation is a feminine activity. Mon ami vient de faire de la musculation. My friend just pumped iron or just worked out. Qu'est-ce que vous venez de faire au parc? What did you just do in the park? Nous, I hope you remember to use, nous venons de nager au parc. I live near Daphne Park, so we got a big pool there. Nous venons de nager au parc. We just swam in the park. And lastly, qu'est-ce que les filles viennent de faire à la maison? What did the girls just do at home? Elles viennent de faire la cuisine. They just did some cooking. Elles viennent de faire la cuisine. So you notice every single time you must use the correct form of venir. Make sure you use de or d apostrophe if needed, and then you put in that past activity. Okay, mesdames, messieurs, so that should wrap it up. You now know how to use aller to talk about things you're going to do, and use venir and venir de to talk about things that you just did. A bientôt!